When you have a complicated, nuanced idea, it takes more to get into it, more pieces. So the idea in these videos, when I think about to whom am I speaking to, who I'm trying to speak to, maybe it could be there for my kids to see as an adult. How are you doing? Maybe these are folk I haven't ever seen that are somehow a part of my family tree. Hey, maybe it's a really good friend that we've gotten to share lots of. Thank you. You're awesome. Part of court is dragging an idea into the light of day where it can't hide anymore. It's an environment that's supposed to nurture truth. That's what it's supposed to nurture. When you lie in court and make a career out of it, I guess my client lied to me. Shouldn't be okay with a bar association. When you give leeway by default of incompetence of your own court to a top donor in your election campaign, and then it comes back that it's all horse shit, clean toenails, clean urine again. Yeah. You could have just asked. How do you manage a thing when you don't ask the participants? Talk to them directly, right? The goal is helping a family. And as somebody who voted for you, I would love to see you rise to the occasion because it would fix my problem of my children currently being abused. To stop. Go to work, pull back, look at that first transcript. Go ahead and listen to this. Listen to one of it, part of it, or all of it. I don't care. I'm putting it up because I'm willfully displaying who I am and my goal at striking honesty. And I'm going to ask people to join me. I was starting a business with my daughters. They named it Sisters Bees. Akron Sisters, Akron Bees, your delicious honey. I said, perfect. You run the company. I'll get people that I know who run companies to help you with that. And let me go talk to your school because maybe your school will want to do it with you. Hey, Doc Jen, you're amazing. Keep being amazing. I walked my children on average 3 days a week. There's only 5 that they gotta go, and they got some weeks in there where they don't even have that, right? That's a really good average. But I don't need to justify the quality I am of a parent. It's a family and trauma. And as a voter, you need to be held accountable for the messes of your court. I voted for you. I didn't vote for this. I voted for a mother of 4 who, because she had a first chair, like she's sitting in the front row seat of people who are getting put in cement boxes. There's commonality to the people that get put in cement boxes, into prisons, into cages. They don't have a healthy relationship with their father. So if you have a father who's arguing from the beginning he would like 50-50 time with his kids, when the other side uses that as a display, a ridiculous display of how unreasonable this individual, who when we said what property we wanted, he had already moved it up to her house. It's a simple idea. I no longer need to care about her, nor be involved in her dramas and lies and cleaning her mess. Look at the mess that she made. You can't even recognize my existence because you think, who would leave a house like that? Who would leave somebody who did all those things? That's an example of how unwell she is and how much she hurts. When you give an alcoholic or a drug addict love, they hurt. They have to feel their pain that they haven't resolved, that they've worked hard to build. They can't hide from it. There can't be any more hiding from it. There can't be feeding from the emotions of somebody paying attention to you. Whether it's pandering to what you're wearing while ignoring the quality of human being you are. Come on. Come on. A mother of four would recognize a Randall Lowry right from the go. And it's not good business. It's not playing the game. And by the way, when you allow dullards in your business, and it sounds like this, and I've heard it in the private sector growing up in Hudson plenty, it is bad business and not cost effective to get rid of that human being. Because when I fire them, they are going to sue me. And I can tell you how much it costs. And by having them around, they don't cost me that much. So I guess I'll keep them around because they feel so uncomfortable. See, a lot of times how it works is if I do something really nice for my wife, she says really horrible things, and then I say more nice things. So then she gets nastier and uglier and louder, and I got quieter and gentler and more nice. Because I'd like to put an anchor in this. Her mom did not get it correct. Nobody wants to have Rita's life, especially not Rita. That's why she's been going to counseling for a very long time. To the same place that the asshole that Randall Lowry bought, that wants to pretend what I'm saying is lies. But don't worry, you only listen to Randall. You only listen to Randall's pieces of paper. You don't want to have an honest-to-honest conversation with me. You're as unhealthy to sit in a room with, as far as my point of view, as my wife. Neither one of you listen. Neither one of you are anchored in reality, and both of you are abusive to my kids and to me. Now, with regards to you, Judge, as a mother of four, who saw the products of unhealthy relationships with their father and saw the travesty that creates. How much is it? What's the cost difference between one healthy citizen and one incarcerated individual? What is that difference? Because every time you have a family in trauma, your job is to balance the scale so the dark shadow isn't recreated. I'll give you another example. When somebody who blew up a bunch of our ships, that fought so ferociously that they had their cities firebombed, and they still didn't quit the fight. And then they dropped the most powerful weapon ever, and they still didn't quit the fight. They didn't walk away when they finally did. They helped them rebuild. And they did such a good job of it. Who had the second and third larger economy in the whole world? What a beautiful example to set. You know how much good you could do from your job? Huh? Are you so devoid of your household of four you want to pretend that cooking meals for them? Because I think it's a basic part. Adam Carolla made the argument that more parents should cook meals for them, that it's basic, that it communicates to them a lot. It makes them feel good. And since I come from broken chaos, when somebody who's successful says an idea like that, well then, hell yeah, I'm doing it. I'm asking all my friends, what do they do? How do you do it? How do you pay attention to things? And it feels great. And I agree with the French. We should slow down and cook more for one another. I know what their favorite breakfasts are. I make them. I made my mother-in-law and my father-in-law the best omelet they ever had. Quoted both of them. You know, the dude who I gave the eulogy to. You empowered fools to throw temper tantrums because of the mismanagement of your court, the unhealthy influence of the likes of Randall Lowry. And you completely ignored my constitutional rights. Now, you have no rights to know anything about my life, because when you pull back that transcript and you look at what Randall Lowry submitted to the court and read it your damn self, just read it. Slow down and read it. There's no evidence for anything. And go ahead, pull for a second the police reports. Make Randall do it. Make him do it. Because what my wife's family spent to enable her lies could have funded my kids' retirement, all the grandkids' retirement, my sister-in-law's too, forever. It's wrong. It's wrong. You did not balance the scale. And even that I'm okay with, because hardship makes me great. Rising to hardship makes you great. Changing and getting better and stronger because of being uncomfortable makes you great. And standing up wide out in the open and doing it, it makes you a leader. And if I'm starting a business and a leadership program for my daughters, and I can't seem to get a job because the county keeps making up reasons based off of your terrific job that you showed me in court, so I lose my driver's license. I haven't seen my kids at all. I don't get to make phone calls to my kids. I am no longer involved in their medical care. I used to take them to the checkups. They'd say, hey, count to 10. And my daughter would say, welche Sprach, which is German. And they'd say, well, what language can you count to? Ich, ni, san, un, du, trois, eins, zwei, drei. And then they get excited when they come back to school and they start teaching you Spanish with uno, dos, tres. We were going to start taking Mandarin Chinese together, because just because I'm older and I have had successes might not mean I do it better than them. And what works for me might not actually work for them. So let's see who can get their learning on faster, and let's learn Mandarin Chinese. And since we were going to sail around the world, well, it would be awesome if somebody knew the most spoke language on the spaceship. This is what my wife did with inheritance. Instead of going on a date with me, she met with other attorneys. I didn't bring this up, she did. She tried to argue I couldn't use an attorney because she met with them before the birth of my son. This has not been a new thing overnight. This has been a slow, painful, deep process. And I don't carry with me a whole bunch of shadows. I don't like doing it. I don't like making it my habit. But you send me to a very dark place when you ignore my constitutional rights and give me a front row seat to your incompetence and my children being abused. Guess what they were today? Still abused. And you should read through some of the evidence that's on my side, because in front of me and in front of a Josh Casday, in front of a BMV, which is recorded, and there's people there, I'm sure the memory still sticks. I said, let me at least walk them home from school. I'll help with homework. You're not good at school. You're not good at homework. They're going to have lots of homework being at a private school. And as they get older and more advanced, it's going to be even harder for you to do the homework. And you can't even teach them how to learn. Like, you just can't. A person who doesn't learn herself can't teach another how to do it. That's not how it works. So we'll divide and conquer. You can teach them to their strengths. If I'm trying to teach them and doesn't figure it out, then you can pick it up and we'll pass back and forth, and you will have more time to play with the kids. And I carried her stuff up in order of expense. Her jewelry, an ironed, freshly washed uniform so she could wear it for work because she had work day but left it behind. See, if you leave it behind, then you can add stories like, wow, oh, I just had to go. I had to get out of there. And I didn't have a uniform. And then she doesn't have to wear the color she doesn't like, that's new. And she can be the unique one, and she can have even more focus on her, and she can tell more lies and enjoy a bigger buzz. She only spends time with family members that I don't have anything to do with because they're abusive. Jim and Claire Jeffries are child abusers. Ask either one of their kids. Rita is a child abuser. Look at how her one daughter behaved in your court. She goes to that office that bought and paid for shrink goes to too. Her dad gave me her whole mental health record. Both their parents, both my mother and father-in-law, together on multiple occasions and separately, tried to talk me out of having a relationship with their daughter because I needed to understand she was different and she had this mental dilemma. The family openly talks about it. Of course she does. Her dad felt so guilty and horrible about the most horrific things her mom says. Horrible. Like when you talk about physical abuse, you should know there's a study with ducks, right? It's how they bond with the baby ducks. You step on their foot. It hurts their foot. They walk with you longer and closer. Think of somebody doing that to you on an emotional level. That can hurt a lot longer than a stick. I gave in-home hospice to a woman who wanted to bribe my bride to not marry me. Pay her cash and thousands of dollars not to do it. I took good care of that old lady. You should ask her siblings. They're still alive. And by the way, to people who want to live in the world where somebody is this grotesquely incompetent, like this judge or Randall Lowry, and we're just going to stay silent, because if you don't have anything nice to say, you shouldn't say anything nice at all. That is a wrong answer. It did not work for your generation. Stop giving it. And stop throwing temper tantrums out there. Even if you have a front row seat to having your kid be child abused, the way you get rid of the shadow on that is that it no longer bothers you, which means you have to be, you won't have been not damaged, but you have to be exquisitely healthy to be able to do that. And somebody in the family needs to be exquisitely healthy because my children are being abused. I asked that shrink for my kids to get, can they have counseling? No. What do you mean no? It's covered in my wife's insurance. Divorce is a family of trauma. You're supposedly here to represent the interests of the court, not Randall Lowry or not just Rebecca Jeffries. So, they can't have counseling. It wouldn't cost anything. Why can't you make that recommendation? No. Okay. Whatever she says about me is all lies, and it's all designed to get an emotional reaction from you, so it's going to be horrible things, like I'm a drug-addled alcoholic who's abusive to everybody. Oh my gosh, I've lived with men. It doesn't matter what direction she's going to go. It's there to design to shock and awe you, to get you to feel something like, oh my God. And then she's going to feed off that feeling and then hide and hide and hide. And while you keep letting her hide, she will keep being an unhealthy child abuser who's actively abusing her children through parental alienation. Which, when I offered to walk the kids at the school at the BMV, back when they were at the BMV and that story, her response to it is you won't see those kids 1 minute more than the minimum requirement of the court. And then she went and bought the attorney who bought the court the most. Your predecessor is well known and well understood. He has a legacy for what it was he created. That's why I voted for you. I wanted something different, not the same. Don't hang out in a back office and trust the word of some person you have lunch with. And then when I say in front of a magistrate to a lady who was sued, she was sued for acting like an attorney because she said that Becky agreed to this, and Becky willfully agreed to it, and she said repeatedly she's not an attorney, and she willfully agreed to it because Becky on her own, Becky, she gave me the kids 40% of the time, no restriction. Becky, 3 months later, says I'm a drug-addled alcoholic who's abusive to everybody and can't have any access to the kids. Then Becky on her own with the magistrate or the court mediator asked your court mediator what she thinks about how I scored as being graded a father. I call myself a great father and I welcome the judgment. And if you got any coaching up, I take advice from it. But it needs to sound something different than if I loved my kids, I would have a bathroom done. Really? Not having a remodel done. I haven't rebuilt enough things on this house. If you would like to look, I'm making episodes about this house because I built it from a position of poverty as a tip of my hat to Walden in the woods. I thought he should have done it in the city. And why wouldn't you do it to the very home that you're going to raise your children in? I didn't go to some of her appointments. I went to all of her appointments without making her feel uncomfortable from as soon as she was pregnant. And she had a lot of issues with her pregnancies. A lot. I was there and I know. And I went with her on all other checks when she was a high-risk deliverer and went to the specialist, Stuart. And I sat in his waiting room. And I talked to other people sitting in the waiting room because that's what I did. And I taught the women how they should ask their husbands to come. And they did. And I shared with them why I enjoy coming with my wife. See, I needed to talk to other people because sometimes she just needs a little quiet. And then I smiled when I come into the waiting room and it was filled with couples. And then I started talking to the people who manage the hospital because they put the high risk at birth babies right next to infectious disease. That doesn't make any sense. Some physicians, when I see them make mistakes, I'll literally give them a typed up little thing. And the next time I see them and they're checking up on me, I'm checking up on them. And they'll have them all knocked down. Not because they're complicated ideas, they're simple ideas. They're simple ideas. The agreement we had when we moved from Colorado was I would be the stay-at-home mom, just like what her dad did. It was part of her mental health plan. She's the breadwinner. I got a part-time job. I built an agency with farmers. But I couldn't keep up with the house, the chaos in the house. She makes a lot of chaos in a house. And people stopped coming over to the house. Talk to Barbie and Brian Ram. They felt wildly uncomfortable being in the house because there was such chaos. You can see pictures of it. All the floors, save the third, looked beautiful. That's my doing. When I had a weekend to work on something, she'd throw a temper tantrum and just tear the hell out of it. And you have to put it together, you know? And no matter what kind of chaos we had yesterday, we don't have to bring it into today. Tabula rasa, blank slate. I'm a teacher by choice. I'm a warrior by choice. The fact that your court made it harder on me, I can say graciously thank you because you helped me to be better. Could you please demonstrate a healthier display of leadership and competency within your own court to somebody who voted for you? And thank you for your time. If you'd like to talk to me, put a video up and link it. Speak here. I don't like back rooms where I got to pay assholes $5,000 to go speak to me. You didn't listen to Wendy at all. You listened to Randall. Good. How'd you listen to that other fellow who just took my money, never told me the date? You like that guy? I don't like that guy. You know how hard it is for a housewife who had 2 months with no running water in her house while she gets to watch child abuse and try to figure out how things make. And by the way, I'm back on child support payments. How dare you? How dare you? And how dare the county, who cares less about my civil rights being ignored and making me prove my innocence. That is where you went awry. That's where you could have stopped trauma in my family, and you failed them. You failed them. You failed them. And you're worthy of my time and energy to fix. Could you fix this, please? Do I need to get an attorney to have you clean up your own mess? Or will you rise to the occasion? Because I've been talking about it everywhere. It's the only thing I want to talk about. Because you know what happened on this fine, beautiful day? It started with child abuse, and it's ending with child abuse. To my own kids, fix it.